My first internship. How was it? Awesome! I got to do tons of cool things and help set up the technology for next year. There was a lot of hands-on work, but I didn't mind. How this video is going to be structured is going to be by week, then by day. But first, let me talk about how I even got into this internship. I applied for it one day after both my case manager and my parents told me about it. There was some paperwork involved, but I expected more, to be honest. I'm used to being drowning in paperwork for every little thing I do, so the paperwork I did wasn't much. There were some things I had to go out and get. I had to get a deposit savings account. I have a spend card, a children's credit card, for them to learn how to use it, but I asked the supervisor, we'll call her Miss Saul, and she said that for some reason they can't get the money into the spend card account and have no idea why. Then I had to go get a TB test or a TB assessment. I did the assessment. It was very easy, and it was about $45. I don't exactly remember. And it was about 5 minutes. Went in, doctor wrote something and said, "Here you go." And I said, "That's it?" "Yep." And then my mom said, "Why do we even need a TB assessment?" Doctor said, they can still happen in the U.S., but it's extremely rare, and it only comes from people who come back from third world countries. Well, anyways, that's all the things I needed to get. There's also a class portion as well that you get 1 free high school credit for. And all the stuff you have to do in the class is very useful as well. We learn about different things, about jobs and how to act at them. I personally find it really fun. So, to the first day. On the first day, I had to get up super early for speech therapy. But I will probably talk about that in a later video if this one does well. But then I had to rush home and hop on the class portion of my internship. Miss Saul talked about the internship and what is expected of us, and then let us work on the work for the week. It was just 2 things. She let us take time to do work so that we don't have to worry about it during our internship, which is nice. I did that, and then I got lunch, and then I went to work. I was set to work at my high school and working with the IT guy there. We'll call him Mr. Brackett. He showed me how to clock in, and then I got to work, separating good and bad chargers, putting the good chargers in one box and the bad ones in another. The ones that looked chewed up by a dog or just straight up broken. And I did that for 4 hours straight. The day zoomed by and I was able to get a lot done. I was thinking during that time how horrible people treat school things. What could their rooms look like? I did the same thing in the morning, minus the speech therapy. I went to work and we started counting chargers. I was talking to one of the other interns and that I will be working with. We'll call her Nurse. We talked about the trade school that is a part of the district, but Nurse said that she didn't know about it, also saying that she came to the district halfway through the year, so she probably wasn't eligible to do it. But a little bit later, she finished her shift and left. I finished counting the chargers, and we ran out of boxes for them. But then the new Chromebooks came in! I helped getting them into a classroom that was not in use for the moment. We do sit down for breaks to rest. The boxes are very heavy and hard to move around, but we make it work. Many are new Chromebooks, but some are new chargers to replace lost or broken ones. But during one of the breaks, Mr. Brackett was looking at a returned Chromebook, and it was somehow snapped in half! How? Some of these kids just amaze me sometimes on how horrible they treat their things! Repeated yesterday morning, and at work I did a lot of different things. At first, I was checking and cleaning all of the Chromebook cases to make sure that they could be used for next year. I did have to purge some due to broken zippers. I did this for most of my shift, but halfway through my cleaning, I started to find chargers. I said something to Mr. Brackett, and he said that he guessed he missed a few. I didn't mind and started putting chargers in a different place to work on them later. A little bit later, my hands were starting to get really ripped up, so I switched over to counting, putting up the chargers. It wasn't hard. I got about 15 to one box and the rest in a different box. Then I started to help with the new Chromebooks. I wanted to see what they look like, so I opened one up, and guys, they're touchscreen. I'm going to do so much harder than you have no idea! But still, I started to put them in by twos. Then Mr. Brackett had to scan more in, so I put stickers on the one he left behind. After that, I started to help pull them out of the boxes and set them on the table. I had to stack them 10 high. I probably pulled out over 60 Chromebooks in that time. It's so funny to be the first kid to see how the new Chromebooks look like, but I hope kids will treat them with more care. But I highly doubt that. Let's be honest, someone's going to break one as a joke and be fined like $200 or something. When I went in today, I forgot to clock in as soon as I got there, but I did a few minutes later. But most of the time I was putting up Chromebooks or putting stickers on them, or unpacking them, because I was putting some up and I saw that there was a blister on my finger, probably from the day before, but I grabbed a bandage for it and went back to work. Then I finished up and went home. This week, I'm working in the morning and not in the afternoon. I was supposed to work with Nurse this morning, but she didn't show up. But anyways, I worked on sticking stickers on the Chromebooks and putting them up. I filled up this Chromebook wall holder thing, so I had to start putting them on a nearby counter. Then after doing that, I unpacked the rest of the Chromebooks from their boxes. Then, as Mr. Brackett was printing out the stickers for the Chromebooks, we ran out of ink. So we had to do something else. I moved around some of the chargers to different boxes, then I went back to cleaning the Chromebook cases. This is one of my least favorite tasks I have to do here. Then after doing that for some time, someone came asking for help. He was a new assistant principal for our school and needed help doing something. He asked both me and Mr. Brackett, but only Mr. Brackett could help. When I finished the row I was working on, I grabbed a broom and a dustpan and swept the little area around the cases because it was so bad. There were little papers and other gross stuff there. I cleaned it up and then took it back where I found it. Then I went and did my end of shift things and clocked out. Today I drove myself. I know it seems like a very simple task to most, but it's very important to me. Anyways, I had to learn a new clock-in system. It just adds like 1 or 2 more steps. Then I started to work on the Chromebooks and putting the stickers on them, then putting them up. I worked with another person today as well. We'll call her Polo. We started to check and clean the Chromebook cases. I chatted a little with Polo about what sports we did and the internship. Then we had to clean some of the teachers' Chromebooks. Then power wash them. It's just Google's word for a power reset. We needed to reset them to run smoothly. Then we started to put chargers into cases. We did that for the rest of our shift. Then I did my stuff I do at the end and clocked out. When I got here, there was a bunch of cars in the front parking lot, so I went to the faculty parking lot. It was torn up, but there was no sign saying, "Don't park here," so I did. But apparently it wasn't open and they were working on it, so I had to move. Then both me and Nurse went and started to power wash some of the teachers' computers. It was so that they run better. Then Nurse put up some of the Chromebook cases and I started working on resetting the computers. It was very simple and not hard to do. Then Nurse and I started to unbox chargers and assemble them. Then put them in a big bin. Then we put the Chromebooks into some cases. I did the end of my shift routine and then I clocked out. Today I ran a tad bit late to work because of speech. And if you're thinking, why can't you just change the time? Well, it's a nightmare to get an appointment at CHKD. Parents who have children in speech and OT will understand. But anyways, I clocked in. Everyone was here. Polo, Nurse, and Mr. Brackett. We were all doing the thing we started last week. I was unzipping cases and laying them out so that Polo and Nurse can grab them, putting the Chromebooks into the cases and closing them up. Then Mr. Brackett was putting the packed ones up and pulling out the unpacked ones. We were also power washing some of the computers as well, but that was Mr. Brackett's task. He rested when needed and then immediately went back to work. We were almost finished with them all, but not quite. So we had to go and finish them tomorrow. But I did my end of shift things and clocked out. On this day, we continued with what we were working on yesterday. It's just me and Nurse today. We were both, at first, putting the Chromebooks into their cases, but then we ran out of Chromebooks, so I grabbed some more and put the ones that were done up. I was mainly running around to make sure that this will be done today. We worked hard and were able to get all the cases done. I did struggle a bit getting home, but my mom came by and helped me. Today was my final day, so what did I do? Nothing! Yeah, so basically me, Nurse, and Pella were absolute rock stars and got everything done earlier than expected. So I did some classwork and then I mainly just watched YouTube the whole time. But some people did drop off Chromebooks, so we took the old Chromebooks out of the cases and put in the new Chromebooks. Then I gave the thank you letter I wrote to Mr. Brackett, it was required for class, and left. So in the end, I learned a lot. If your school does anything like this at any level, you should apply. It's very good to have some form of work experience to put on a job application. Most jobs like to see that you do some internships and will give you a boost to get the job. So in the end, go out and do things. I'm sure you won't regret it. Thank you for watching. May peace be with you.